This is a top tier support that you get with premium skills, and summoners, special spamming is ageless. Pick Rafiel, you will not regret it. Let's just take a quick review of this kit. Now, the thing that Rafiel does is an ally supported unit basically gets Quicken Pulse. I want to remind you that Quicken Pulse stacks with other Quicken Pulse effects, with Asker, with all of that stuff. So that's where you really get the power when you're talking about AoEs on something like Brave Self that we'll see very shortly. But I also want to point out, now this is an amazingly invested Rafiel, but this unit can be built for combat as well. That is 66 attack, that's a +6 buff all the way down, 58 speed. Summoners, that is massive. This unit can show up for you. The other thing I want to point out is the versatility. Summoner Duels is a great mode. I'm going to show some highlights from that. Aether Raids. Arena, I mean, you can do it, but this is probably not an arena unit, but PvE is excellent as well. This is a lot of fun to use, and you will get a ton of value out of this pick. The last thing to mention is the fact that this unit is a beast, enables a lot of units that are, well, like Kanegus. Kanegus is a very powerful unit if you have a team built around him. This can be a component of that, and there's a lot of units like that. In just light season, we've got Asker and Ashe that you can help keep transformed using this unit. Keep that in mind, beast dancers are very powerful. The last thing I want to ask is, who is your favorite dancer in your barracks right now? This is a mainstay for me. I really like this unit. I would love to hear what you guys are using right now though. Our Aether Raids showcase is up first, and I am so excited to show you guys this. This is, well, you can see the build on the right. This is kind of the ideal build. If you're just going for skills for Aether Raids, this is what I would use. Infantry Pulse is incredibly valuable in light season. Attack Speed Clash works really well with warping skills because you get that 4 movement out of it very easily. And lastly, 8 Flowers is just enough to give him the additional 2 speed. Now, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about support units, and one of the problems is how hard it is to quantify how good they are. It's something that I've struggled with this video. A lot of the showcases that I was finding, they showcase other units. And it doesn't matter that Rafiel is the enabler for those. It is hard to really put him into the spotlight. Always keep an eye out for units like this though. Sometimes it's easy to miss how much they affect results. Listen, I was using Gale Force back in the day when your only choices were Bold, Fighter, Effie, and Raven. I actually, after that, I swore I would never do Gale Force again. It was such a pain in the butt. But they have given us so many tools to make this easier. Now, this team that I'm showing here, this is all about cooldown reduction and mobility. And these are units that are not real hard for you guys to get, other than Dogger. My Dogger is very, very invested. but anyway, you guys are seeing in the video now, everyone gets to 2 cooldown on their Gale Force except for Rafiel. It's kind of spectacular. Now, I know what you're thinking with Summer Edelgard. She can be swapped out in this configuration. For her in particular, Rafiel is offering guard insurance. This is not a small deal. A lot of your near saviors have stance skills on them that have that guard built in, and it gets very hard to proc Gale Force. The combination of this extra cooldown that Rafiel is giving plus Heavy Blade it comes in clutch. Now, looking at the configuration that I have here, this is a very common Catria ball setup. You guys have seen it 100 times. I've taken out the buildings just for cleanliness of video here, but understand that they usually aren't too hard to get through on turn 1. This Catria ball configuration is just the nemesis of so many players. Having everything set up for this just makes clears a lot more easy, a lot more fun. The other thing I want you to notice as units fly around here is how many extra actions we have. Like we end this with 2 units that haven't even moved, and they both have Gale Force. Understand that as you do this, that is something you want because you're going to run into harder configurations of this map that folks get really creative with. And you know, once in a while you just get the whale team, but that is what a good support unit is doing. A good support unit will take a low merged carry and boost them up to a +10 level. That's why I look for these units so hard, and that's why I like Rafiel so much. By allowing quick access to specials, it lets these units hit out of their weight class. And because of that, I can save orbs for the next Sharena ult that is coming someday. But you can see the cleanup is pretty easy here, and we even get a last kill with Rafiel, which made me happy. Summoners, this is a very powerful strategy that is easier to access because of Rafiel. That is why I am so high on this unit in Aether Raids. Let's talk about Summoner Duels. In Summoner Duels right now, area of effect specials are the meta. Like, that's it. They've always been prominent, but lately they have come into their own in many, many ways, especially when you're looking at a unit like Brave Seliph, but it's harder to get cooldown on him, and Rafiel comes in and completely fixes that problem, or causes that problem, depending on if you're the receiving end or not. Looking at the ideal build for your Rafiel, I want to point out that there are a lot of different ways you can do this, and I'm going with HP stacking. It is very, very cheap, and you don't necessarily need a lot of the Forma skills that are currently available, and it gives you a lot of freedom to pick a lot of fun things. What I will emphasize here is that B skill. I am a huge fan of Sudden Panic, but we now have Legendary Ellawood who gives panic resistance. He's among a lot of others, but in Summoner Duels, he's a very popular one. What it means is that even Pulse Tie is probably the more valuable of the two skills. The thing is, even Pulse Tie is in the codes. Now, if you've already used one and you're looking to play with this unit in Summoner Duels, I would definitely recommend even Pulse Tie, but just understand that there are options there. I still love Sudden Panic. It just isn't as good against raid bosses like it used to be. This team is all about specials and gives them out just across the board. You've got, because of that infantry pulse, you're giving an extra pulse down for Asker, which is fantastic. You're giving the extra quicken pulse to Seliph, fantastic. Asker gives everyone else +1. Good times are had by all. The thing you're looking at with this replay, though, is this is normally a team that you would need Bridal Catria. When you're looking at Summoner Duels S, a lot of times Bridal Catria gets vetoed. So giving your team access to area of effect specials gives essentially an extra hit, which is very, very nice. With Rafiel, you also don't need to use an action to charge it like you would with, say, Duocrom. The last thing I want to point out is that was a +5 Asker that this Seliph was able to take out. And that's only a +1 Seliph. That's pretty spectacular, especially since there was no lull in the B skill. Once again, what we're seeing is a support unit is taking a +1, a very powerful +1, but a +1 unit, and allowing them to defeat a unit that really is designed to counter him. Asker should beat Brave Seliph every time, but he doesn't defeat the AoE version. That's something to think about when you're making your teams. All right, we've been through the highlight reel. It's fantastic and all. I wanted to talk about skills and what I am looking for as we go through here. Obviously, this is a +10, +20 feathers. There are loads of extra stats just sprinkled everywhere. Understand that Aether Raids Rafiel takes more specific skills than Summoner Duels does. So I'm focusing more on that as I'm going through than the other stuff. So attack speed clash 4, speed defense tempo 3, because honestly I already have even Pulse Tie on my Rafiel. Even Pulse Tie might be the better choice there, but for the most part you're not going to be using whatever B skill you pick up. You're probably going to be replacing it with something else that's cheaper, for instance. Canto Control is the one exception to my Aether Raids rule there, and the reason is it's on Medius, and that's it. That is a mythic unit that is very powerful that you would probably like to merge all on his own. Like that is a very, very good unit. So I would like to get Canto Control so that I can have more of that available. If you're not a Summoner Duels player, there are tons of options, and in fact, we'll go over those right now. So we just came from the Summoner Duels talk about Canto Control. That is the skill you're looking for. If you're looking for Summoner Duels, I would very much prioritize Canto Control, and it's to the point where if all you get on Rafiel is Canto Control, I still think this unit is worth picking up for Summoner Duels. That's how valuable that skill is, and that's how valuable Rafiel is in that mode. As far as Aether Raids, attack speed Clash 4 is just clutch, but understand that any of the attack speeds are very good. Attack speed ideal 4 is probably my second pick. Attack speed finish is probably third. Like that's, I mean, you're since your Wings of Mercying in, it's still good, but also then you would have healing. It just gets complicated, and attack speed Clash 4 gives you more stats. Times Pulse is interesting here, and it really depends on how much infantry pulse you have used and how many grails it's costing you. I have used a ton of infantry pulse. Now I already have infantry pulse on my Aether Raids Rafiel, so I won't be looking for that. But if you're in the boat where you're grail poor and it's an expensive thing to do, infantry pulse is fantastic here. Speed defense tempo is just fun. I've got Blue Flame on all of these just because it's rare, but understand that Gale Force is also an option, and honestly might be a better option because are you really going to use Blue Flame? Might as well just save the 20,000 feathers. But for me, I don't know. Blue Flame is nice. If you don't get it, I wouldn't sweat it. And of course, we have the Max Invest. And keep in mind, I've tried to spread out some of these skills so you can see kind of a range of different things. Infantry Null Follow-Up is the one thing different here, and I've seen it suggested by a couple very smart people. It is a very good skill. It is very rare, and that could be a fun addition to your Rafiel if you're not looking for, again, the Canto control for Summoner Duels. Looking back at our tier list, understand that all of these units are very good. This is meant to rate brand new units, and Rafiel is still up there. Tier 3 is very, very good. Lilith and Emir are both excellent units. This unit is right up there with them. I would get this unit if you have a chance, if you have a spare forma. Definitely grab this one. If you're interested in my thoughts on where more units rank in the meta and how they are rising and falling, definitely go and check out the last meta report, which was a couple weeks ago. Summoners, take care. Have a good one.